Finally, welcome back to Lower Keys Living, everybody. It's been a brutal 2.5 months of windy, stormy weather down here. Not a lot of fishing action. So today I'm out going for tuna and wahoo. This was shot December 26th, the day after Christmas. And right along with me, show you what we got, show you how we are rigged. Here I'm heading out to my favorite starting part, if you follow me. Going out to the Wilkes-Barre, which the stern and bow section are split. I do a couple of loops through those because they tend to hold a lot of bait. Not a lot of success there. A couple of other wrecks that I headed out over, and then just started trolling up towards Looe Key, heading back inshore a little bit. So right along, show you what we ended up with on the line today. All right, so here is my setup for tuna and wahoo. Trolling typically between 7.5 and 9 knots is what my trolling speed is. I've got both outriggers out on each side of the boat. This one's a little tough to see in the background here. On my port side, this left side, I run that pink feathered billy bait lure, put that about 150 feet behind the boat. When I'm going for tuna, I stay way away from, put these back further to get them out of that prop wash. Tuna do not like the prop wash and they will swim away from it. Not like mahi where you can run your baits in here 50, 75 feet back and you're good to go. So I run these back. On my starboard side, I'm running a tuna jig or tuna rig with got some teaser baits on the front of it, and then a pink rig on the back, another feather rig back there. A little different setup from the billy baits. This is something I make myself, and I'll show that to you on another video. And then off the side of their boat, I run a deep diving 30-foot deep Nomad, kind of a neon blue in color, and I run about 100 feet of line out, so that's going to dive down about 30 feet, get well below the prop wash. So that is my setup. I put this pink Billy Baits feather rig on my port side because I'm standing right here. If I get something on, 9 times out of 10 it's going to be on this feather rig. If you've seen my videos, I love that. Not sponsored by Billy Baits. Just can't say enough about that rig. For some reason, the last 2 years, that has been the magic rig for me. And if you haven't seen it, I'll put a link to my earlier videos where I show that in the comment section. And again, this is my setup. I'm always looking for tuna birds, the small little blackbirds, working school of tunas, looking for action on top of the water. And if you spot those tuna birds working out here in the distance, don't run straight through those. Again, tuna do not like this prop wash, and they will dive down, they'll swim away from it. So they'll see this prop wash coming and they're gone. They're going to miss your lures. Instead, come up, loop around it. And by doing that, when you're coming around, your lures are back here. By the time you get around, they're going to drag straight through that school of tuna. Your chances of getting tuna much, much greater. Again, don't drive straight through those schools. You can do that with mahi. Mahi don't seem to be bothered by this prop wash. They'll come right up to the boat chasing things. So, but with tuna, they are skittish and they will dive away from that prop wash. So again, loop around those tuna birds, the school of tuna. Increase your success much higher. So that's my setup. I'm going to take you right back out on the boat right now and see what we got for today. So up here, you can see I've got the boat in neutral. I've got a fish on, moving my gaff into position. Went past a big piece of bamboo that had some depth to it, so I was expecting wahoo on here. I normally get those off my deep diving baits, but this is that surface pink billy bait lure, and it is just going off. It is spinning out line like mad, so I know I've got something big on here. You can see the rod bending, but if you watch out off between the tip of my rod and the gaff, you'll see the fish jump a few times here, way out there. And that far out, I couldn't tell what I had on. I was still thinking possibly a wahoo, even though those tend to dive a little deeper, not on the surface. And brain just wasn't registering what I had on here, other than just thinking straight wahoo because I'd gone past that bamboo in the water. Which tended that the way the structure that had tend to hold wahoo down deep. So I was pretty excited thinking I had wahoo on here. And it wasn't until another jump or two that I realized I had a nice sized billfish on. And right now I'm just churning and churning, trying to keep up with it. It had spun a lot of line off. And all of a sudden it turned and started swimming towards the boat. So I start really winding like mad, trying to keep up with it as best I can. Then as it gets in a little closer, it really takes off towards the front of the boat. And some people keep their boats at an idle speed. I have had some big fish on when I'm out here by myself, and it has yanked me where I've almost gone over the side. So anytime I'm out here, I've got something big on like this, I put the boat in neutral and I make sure it's locked in neutral. Here you can see that fish is really swimming off to the front of the boat and diving under the boat now. But again, just for safety, if I go over, the boat's not going away from me. So I check and double check that boat's in full on neutral. So if something does yank me over, the boat's not going anywhere. So here I am, it's coming out, and this is my first good look at it. Now I've got marks on the side of my boat, 1 foot markers along the rail, so I can measure fish while they're in the water, get a good idea. Sailfish have to be 63 inches from the fork in the tail to the front of the lower jaw. You don't measure them from the tail tip to the tip of the sword. So 63 inches. I can see this guy's well over that size right now, pulling him up alongside. And you'll see my ice box when I finally get this guy on board is 50 inches across. The tape measure on that is 48 inches. And you can see how far past this thing it extends. Will not fit in the ice box. I didn't have enough ice in my fish locker for this, so I ended up icing him down on the deck and headed in. The only other fish I got out here today was a small tuna. Did not record that one. It was in pretty close to the boat. I was actually feeding line back out at the time. Got him on quick. Didn't bother turning the camera on for that one because I was expecting a lot more tuna action. But did not end up with that, so ended up here with this nice sailfish. And again, we ended up smoking this guy. A lot of people don't like sailfish, but man, if you get a good one and you smoke it for 2.5, 3 hours, it is delicious. Nice firm meat, really great sandwich fish. So that's what we end up doing with these. So one of the best fighting fish down here, great sport fish, and was definitely not expecting this. So never know what you're going to get on the line down here in the Lower Keys, but ended up with this one. Kind of took my wind out of me a little bit. I was working hard on this guy. But great fish. Here I'm going to give you a shot. So that's a 50-inch ice chest, and you can see tip of the tail, the fork of the tail's at one end, and his head goes way past that. So again, he ended up being 66 inches from the base of the jaw to the fork in the tail. That was it for the day. Got lots more fishing planned this week. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you on the next episode of Lower Keys Living.